40 years in the making, and we finally got Beetlejuice Beetlejuice. Cannot say that name 3 times. I'm going to try my hardest to avoid it. But anyway, I have been waiting for years for this sequel. This film that stars Michael Keaton is one of my favorite films ever made. I find the energy, I find the excitement of the Michael Keaton performance as the titular character to just be awe-inspiring. It's one of my favorite directorial efforts from Tim Burton, who's one of my favorite directors. I think the zaniness, the fun, the randomness of this world, the creativity, it's everything that Tim Burton does so well. So when we hear this, that he's going to make a sequel to this popular character, I had my reservations. This was a movie that I was eagerly anticipating. I got to see it earlier this week. And let's just start off with the positives, which let's talk about the biggest positive of it all. This movie does not work if Michael Keaton does not return in this role, and basically picks up where he left off. And Michael Keaton does that in spades. I thought he was truly, truly incredible in this role of the anti-hero, I guess you could say, the demon from hell, this trickster. It's just a wonderful performance. It's so funny. He's so captivating. Every moment that he is on screen is just joyous, and he slides right back into the role. No issues. I really appreciated what Michael Keaton brought to this role and the effort and excitement he seemed to be bringing in. He wasn't doing this for a paycheck. He had something fun. He had a level of energy. This is a really great Michael Keaton performance. So already on that basis, that's enough for me to already recommend almost caught myself, almost did it. That is enough for me to recommend this movie. However, what really cements this film is Tim Burton. And I think there had been so much discussion about Tim Burton as a director. Can he make this movie anymore? Is he qualified really to tell this type of story anymore, in the sense that, like, he hasn't really made a great film in 2, maybe even closer to 3 decades. There's films that I admire in there, Corpse Bride, Sweeney Todd, Big Fish. Like, there are movies in there that I think are strong efforts, or even like Dumbo. I don't think it's the worst Disney live action film, but that magic was missing. And what this film captures with Tim Burton is the uniqueness of his vision and how singularly focused that is. The world building of this movie is a ton of fun. The set designs, everything. There is just such an imagination in aesthetic in this that it brings you right back to 1988. And you get this creative vision / force that is Tim Burton at full effect. This was Burton channeling what he did so well in those early films, from Pee-wee's Big Adventure to his next film, to Batman, to Edward Scissorhands, to Ed Wood, to Mars Attack. Like, that scale and scope of a director's vision is fully there. That was super exciting to me, that he was able to capture that. And, you know, this is a guy that's gone lost a little bit with CGI mumbo jumbo with Charlie and the Chocolate Factory and Alice in Wonderland. This movie looks great. It's lit in a really fun way. It feels like it did in 1988 with a modern camera. That's an exciting thing for him to do, to have this budget, to make this world feel zany and weird. He never compromises his zany vision for a studio or anything like that. And that was the Tim Burton, the artist that I respect, that I love and admire. Where this film does struggle, and it is a call out of Burton, is you can clearly tell he has had this movie, a sequel for it, in his mind basically since 1988, which means every version of it, whether it's this character going to Hawaii, whether it's some of the other ideas that have been floated around, it's all in this movie. And the issue that it has is the script is a mess, and there's no way of getting around that. This story has way too many characters. There's Willem Dafoe joins the cast. Monica Bellucci, I believe is her name, who is actually dating Tim Burton in real life. She's this figure from the main character's past. Then you have Justin Theroux is joining the cast as the love interest to Winona Ryder. Of course, you get all the returning cast. Jenna Ortega joins this film. It all is in this movie, and you feel like these different ideas it plays. You have one storyline going on with Jenna Ortega and this boy that she's interested in. Not all is as it seems in this town and with this character. Then you also have this storyline of Justin Theroux and Winona Ryder, their whole storyline. You have all these bits and pieces. The main titular character and his past is explored. That's where the film is just like, okay, you have about 3 to 4 main storylines that I enjoyed all of them. Like, Willem Dafoe is really funny in this movie, and I wouldn't say the character is very necessary to tell this story. I enjoyed seeing him there. I thought he had a ton of fun, and I thought Tim Burton utilized him in a really wonderful way that I would love to see more with this character. But in the actual context of this movie, he doesn't do much. And that's kind of the issue. This film has a story issue and it has an editing issue in the sense that stuff should have been edited out and other stuff could have been focused on, because any of the ideas in this movie, none of them are bad. They all actually were deserving of their own story. My favorite one that I wish we got a little bit more explored was the Jenna Ortega one. And I think that's because the Jenna Ortega of this all. Johnny Depp was in the wilderness with Tim Burton for quite a while, and they made quite a lot of films together. And at some point, it just didn't become interesting to me. I kind of found it to be creatively bankrupt after a while. And I think that's just due to the stardom that Johnny Depp reached. Didn't allow him to fully access what Tim Burton was still trying to do. And they both went way too commercial with their careers. Jenna Ortega is the perfect muse for a Tim Burton. She understands that aesthetic. She understands that world. She understands the influence that he is going for. And he is going for it in this movie. He does silent German impression in this film. He does 1950s callback to horror films. He does it all. Every influence that he has ever had, you feel it in this movie. And that's where this movie has a lot of fun. And I think that's where Jenna Ortega shines the most. And I would have loved to see more of her. Unfortunately, the story does sideline her at times, even though I think she's really good in the movie. Winona Ryder is an interesting case of this movie. I've heard some mixed thoughts about this performance. Ultimately, I just didn't think there was much that they did with this character, but it was always really great to see Ryder back, and I had fun. I was glad that she was in this movie. I just wish they gave her more to do. The standout besides Michael Keaton in this performance is Catherine O'Hara. Catherine O'Hara is so funny in this movie. This is a just laugh per minute every time she's on screen. Every line of dialogue that she has in this movie is really funny, especially as they address some of the events that have happened to her. I believe it's her husband character in the first 1988 movie. The way Tim Burton addresses that scandal and controversy in this film is done in a really funny, really clever way that I really enjoyed it and really added to the artistic vision. Don't want to spoil it, but Tim Burton fans, especially those of fans of Nightmare Before Christmas and Corpse Bride, they're going to get a lot of joy in some of the stuff that Tim Burton does to the effect. He is really playing with all genres of himself. But ultimately, Beetlejuice... Damn it! I messed up. There it is. I guess there's no reason to cover it anymore. Beetlejuice is a damn fun movie. I had a blast seeing it, and I think it's a movie that gets progressively better. Specifically, there is a third action set piece in this film that involves a wedding that I was so enamored by this scene. This was Burton. This was the Burton I missed. Michael Keaton being able to not fully recapture the magic of 1988, but doing it in a way that I was able to feel some of that magic and not feel annoyed that they decided to bring this back. Did they need to bring this movie back? No. Did I have fun with it? And I'm glad that it didn't ruin anything from the past. Oh my God, yeah, this movie is so much better than it has any rights to be. I had a ton of fun with it. I can highly recommend it. I am, as a review, as a person thinking critically, I think this is a 3.5 out of 5-star movie. As someone who wanted to love this movie and was glad to say that they walked out loving this movie and really appreciating what they went for, I think this is a 4 out of 5 for me personally. But again, as a critical, this film certainly has its issues. So let's go 3.5 out of 5 stars for Beetlejuice. Again, he'll probably pop up right behind me. Anyway, thank you all for watching. If you like this video, make sure to like and subscribe for more.